All right, so today we're having a look at this knuckle grip cover from KIWI Design. The intention behind this is that the cover goes on top of a Quest 2. It adds on a little grip that will actually hold onto your hand, similar to how Valve Index does. Personally, I'm very fond of this design. It's very nice, and I prefer it over using something like a wrist strap, especially since I don't use wrist straps on most of my controllers anyways. So this is going to be a great alternative. Now, quick disclaimer, KIWI Design did send this out to me to review. However, they did not pay for me to do a positive or negative review or anything like that. So any thoughts and opinions that I have are entirely my own. But just as a disclaimer, they did send this out to me to review. So let's go ahead and have a quick look at this. I don't think we have anything interesting here in the box. We just have the KIWI Design logo here. So let me go ahead and get this open. Here we go. So this looks like these must be the grip covers. Yes, I think it's actually part of them. I don't think that's everything. We have, I don't actually know what this is. I think we're gonna find out what that is here in a second. Actually, you know what? It may be for the grip on the back. We'll have to see if that is what this is for. Oh, and they do send out like a little instruction pamphlet. Looks like maybe some ties or something for, I don't know what you would use these ties for. That's interesting. Cool. So, of course, first off, we have our little manual here. I don't know if I'm going to end up needing that, to be honest. It does, from what I understand, it actually replaces our battery cover on the Quest 2 controller. It actually looks like it basically has like a little flip up instead of the slide that you typically get to cover over that battery. That battery compartment there. I'll be a little bit curious to see how well that works. I don't know if it'll be quite as sturdy as the battery cover that comes on the Quest 2. And then everything else looks like maybe something I'll be able to figure out pretty easily, but just in case, I'll go and set that off to the side here. So here we go. So we have a number of things here. So, okay, so this looks like it's for our tracking rings. Let me actually get rid of that. So I actually have a couple of Quest 2 controllers over here, so that way you can actually give this all a shot as we're taking all this out. So from the looks of things, this is meant to be a replacement to our to the tie here that actually holds on to our hand here on the back of our grip. I do have to say that does feel pretty comfortable. I don't even have the Quest 2 controller in it, and actually it's pretty firm. So this is also meant to add a little bit of grip onto our Quest 2. So if you actually look at this right here, you can see it's not particularly long. Personally, I would like something a little bit longer too. It's depending on what kind of games I'm playing. Like if I'm playing Beat Saber, I tend to hold my hand more in like this fashion. And I don't like holding it like this because then I have a couple fingers just kind of sitting off the end there. So this is supposed to add on a little bit of an extra extension here. And we also have our button here. So let me go ahead and see if we can slide our Quest 2 controller into this and you can see how this works here. Oh, and it does also, so that's also kind of interesting. So it does also label, in case you happen to get confused, which battery or which cover is for which controller. You can actually hopefully see that there's a little right, like a little R to signify right, and I'm imagining this one has an L. Yes, it does. So in case you happen to get confused at all, then you can get an idea for which controller is which. So let's go ahead, get this all together. I think that the manual said that you should take out the battery before you do any of this. I'm not doing that. Oh, you know what? I see exactly why. Oh, that's interesting. I did not notice this. Oh, this is what I get for not reading manuals. So there's actually a little tab here to help you pull out the battery. I wonder if it becomes that much more difficult to pull it out once you have the Quest 2 controller in here. So we'll have to see that right here in a second. Oh, okay. I felt a bit of a snap. I don't know if that's a good snap or a bad snap. So here we go. This is our, the main grip is just kind of sitting in here. So you can actually see we have a little tab here to help us pull out that battery. I can definitely see why they added that in. It is a little hard to get your thumb in there so you can kind of lift out the battery. So I think that's much more useful. Actually, that tab doesn't seem to help so much. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, you kind of have to still put quite a bit of force in there just to get that in there. Oh, you know what? Oh, that's what these are. Okay. Oh, these are replacements for these little tabs here. So this is actually kind of interesting. They send you a whole bunch of replacement parts, which is really cool. So it looks like, yeah, so this is this little plastic piece. They send you 4 of these replacements, it looks like, for the little tabs that you use to pull out your batteries. That is really nice, actually. I like having little replacements, especially for something like this. I feel like that's something someone eventually is going to break. Probably pretty early on, too, if I'm honest. It just feels like a flimsy piece of plastic, so I would not be surprised if someone did end up breaking that. And then it looks like we just close that battery cover. Yeah, just like that. Look at that. Feels pretty nice. And then I also haven't yet closed this, so it looks like we have this little snap. It just goes over here and it sits right above the triggers in order to hold our whole grip on, just like that. So that's the overall grip. I have to say, that feels very comfortable. Let me see. Yeah, that feels pretty comfortable. And actually, too, that feels like it holds onto my hand very well. I don't even have the wrist strap on. I just have the wrist strap right here. Ooh, yeah, that feels very comfortable. I like that. Yeah, KIWI Design definitely does make some pretty good products. I have used some of their products in the past, and they are definitely very, very nice little accessories to have for Quest 2, or really if you have any VR headset. I know they make some little accessories for other VR headsets too, or that can be used with other VR headsets. Now, the last thing that I'm not yet entirely sure what it's for, well, last couple things here. We have this little tracking ring. It looks like it may just snap on there. I'm curious as to how well that's going to hold on. So you can actually see too, again, this has the R for our right controller, and this one over here has the L for our left. I'm actually not sure if there's any difference. They look the exact same. You know what? I feel like causing a bit of chaos. I'm gonna put L on our right controller. Let's see how well that holds on. In full defense to KIWI, in case this does not work, I'm sure that they do not encourage you to throw the right protection cover on the left controller, the left one on the right controller. I have to say, it's pretty nice. I actually rather like that. It's pretty basic. It's pretty nice, and you can still pretty comfortably hit the grip. Something else that I like too about having this sort of back design is I like being able to let go of my controller and just let it sit there in my hand. I don't like using these track straps for that reason too. When you use these track straps and you want to let go, you just kind of let them dangle there for a second and then lift them up, which it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I like just having it sit there in my hand so I can just kind of relax my hands but not have to worry about dropping my controllers or anything like that. Because I have done that once before. I forgot the track straps once, and or the wrist straps once, and it just fell out of my hand. Now, last thing that I'm really not sure what this is for. I might need to open the manual. My best guess is that this maybe goes over this this hand strap here. So I went ahead and had a quick look through the manual. So this little padding is meant to go on our little hand strap here. I think it's meant to go on a specific way because it looks like if you throw it on in this way, it lines up with this right here where we have the hand strap come through down here at the bottom. I don't know if it necessarily is meant to go one way or another, but that just kind of seems to be the way that's meant to go. They do say that it is a choice, although I think that this is also a choice as well. This little rubber padding that you put around the tracking ring. I don't know. I feel like I could kind of take it or leave it. I don't think it's uncomfortable. I just don't know that it's necessary. It just kind of feels like it's something more for your personal preference. If you like having this sort of more of a fuzzy grip, then I think that's something that you may want to add on, is just this little fuzzy thing. I kind of like just the feeling of having the hand strap as it is right there. Personally, I feel like it's just not something that really needs much adjustment if you really wanted to just leave it. So let's go ahead. I want to try real quick because I've actually tried throwing my Valve Index controllers like off my hand to see if I could get it to budge at all. And it shifted, of course, a little bit, but it's never fully come off my hand. So I want to see if I can do the same thing with this and see if it's going to come off at all. So let's go ahead. I have that pretty decently tight, and I do have to say it doesn't feel as tight as what I feel on the Valve Index. It just doesn't feel quite like it's holding on my hand the same, so we'll see. Oh yeah, that is coming off. To be clear, this does hold on to your hand very well. Like you really have to put quite a bit of force onto it, and it didn't even fully come off my hand. I had it so it was more shifted down towards my knuckles. Actually, it was more shifting like that. So it can't come off your hand. This definitely is not going to hold on quite as well as something like a Valve Index. Let's actually try throwing on this little fuzzy pad here and seeing if this kind of helps out too. Feels pretty comfortable. Let's go ahead and see if this is going to come off too. Yeah, that does kind of start sliding down. So I haven't even touched it. You can kind of see it kind of start sliding down. I had it all the way up here before. Again, that's going to require quite a bit of force. You're probably not going to be throwing out your Quest 2 controller with that much force and have it fully released. I can see you definitely doing that much, having that much force if you're punching. But if you're doing that, you probably already have your hand kind of gripped around the controller anyways. So I feel like it's kind of I feel like it could have been done a little bit better. Like it could have held onto the hand a little bit better. It feels very nice overall. I just feel like it could hold onto your hand a little bit better so that way it doesn't slide at all. Because I know, for example, the Index, I have not had any problems with that sliding off my hand at all. So let's go ahead, and I want to try throwing on this other one now real quick. So overall, I have to say I'm rather impressed with this so far. The one thing I haven't yet tried is actually playing some VR games with this. So I think we're going to go ahead and try just jumping into something real quick. Just to see how it feels when actually playing. I've left on these little fuzzy pads, and you can see that I've basically attached everything on both these controllers just so you can see how this feels with all the accessories attached. All right, so we're trying out one more game here. So this is The Climb. Believe it or not, this is actually something I just recently started playing. So I have not gotten through this very much yet. So again, this is something I feel is just great since we're able to just kind of let go and see the world that we're exploring. It's overall just a great experience, and it should add a little bit to the immersion, being able to just fully, relax and let go and just see the environment that's going on around us. By the way, from what I've seen so far, Climb is an amazing looking game. I just felt like I should throw that out there. Oh yeah, so this just feels just really nice, just playing around like this. Being able to just fully let go of the controllers and just kind of relax here. Just kind of see how everything's going. Feels fantastic here. I think that this is another great example where we can just kind of let go of the controllers and just kind of let it sit there when we're reaching out and grabbing out a new rock. It just feels, to me, I feel like the controller makes a big part of the overall immersion too, just because it's the way that we interact with the overall environment, right? So just being able to fully let go of our hands when we are not holding on to anything, to me just feels so natural. It just feels right to do, especially when you're trying to focus on immersion in a game. And I think that controllers are a big part of that. Now, after having jumped into just a couple of games, what are my overall thoughts on this controller? Well, overall, I have to say I'm pretty impressed. I think that this is very well designed, and I don't think it's for everybody, and I would not recommend it to everybody that I come across, but I think that there's a lot of people that can find a lot of use out of something like this. Just for the knuckle grip controller alone, I find that this is something that is just very comfortable for me, and I think it's going to be comfortable for a lot of people who wanted to use a Quest 2 controller, as opposed to having to always hold on with your ring finger and your pinky finger. I think just having on this little knuckle grip controller adds on quite a bit more there. And I think it also adds a little bit more to the immersion for me personally. Being able to fully release any sort of object in a virtual world and being able to release the controller just to me feels a little bit more natural than if I just released a single button and just had it drop to the ground. I think it just adds a little bit more to that immersion, and it's just overall really great. And I think it's also great if you have particularly big hands. I don't think mine are, I wouldn't call my hands big. I don't think they're necessarily small either, somewhere more in the middle. But if you have particularly big hands, it adds on just a little bit of extra length onto there, which I think is also just really nice if you just need a little bit of an extra grip there in order to hold on to. Now, my one complaint with this particular grip cover, and this is going to sound a little bit weird, but for those of you guys who don't know, I do quite a bit of development work, and I find that I'm constantly having to change out the batteries because I have a Quest 2 sitting on just about all day long. So being able to access the battery cover for me is something that's pretty important, so that way I can actually easily replace those batteries. I have to say my only complaint with this is that you kind of have to use this little plastic pull tab in order to pull out the battery. And it's not necessarily that I have a problem with the plastic pull tab itself. It's the fact that it's, one, a little bit more difficult to get out the battery because there's a little bit of extra thickness added on by this cover. You kind of need to use this plastic tab in order to easily get out that battery. And eventually this is likely going to break. And while they do send replacements only last for so long. So when it kind of reaches that point, then I'm kind of going to have to struggle in order to get batteries in and out of the controller. Not to say that this isn't a bad idea. I definitely like this idea as opposed to having that little slide or having to take on this cover, having to fully take on and off this cover. I do think that's definitely a better solution than that. Other than that, it's a very comfortable controller. And also, if you tend to throw your controller or you tend to hit walls or doors or people, because that does happen, then I think that this is also something worth looking into because it adds a little bit of protection to almost your entire Quest 2 controller. So overall, I think it's a great product. If you guys want to check this out for yourself, I have a link to this product in the description so you can go and check it out for yourself and give it a shot for yourself and let me know what you guys think in the comments. Have you guys seen this before? Is this something that interests you guys? And I'm just overall curious, is this something that you guys prefer over having to hold a physical controller as you normally would? With that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe button down below. And with that, I'll see you in the next reality.